Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Disgruntled firefighter takes protest action to new heights. States of public emergency declared in Clarendon and St. James. And later in sports, Donovan Duke departs Mobe United. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here are the details. A disgruntled member of the Jamaica Fire Brigade has taken his protest action to new heights. Sergeant Leo Bennett, who is attached to the Half-Tree Fire Station, staged a one-man protest this morning, taking his grouse to the roof of the Half-Tree Transportation Center in St. Andrew. He is renewing the call for better welfare for firefighters. Our reporter Kirk Wright spoke with the Sergeant Bennett while he protested on the roof.
My feeling is at the lowest depth because for some time now, firefighters have been asking, pleading for a better welfare, for a better working schedule. We have not pressured the government in any way, shape or form for money. However, the ego of the minister and the ego of the management is blockading this humble and solemn request.
Understands that Sergeant Bennett has been on suspension for breaching the organization's regulations.
We must take them home and put them into the washer where our children and other family members' clothes is being washed. I don't want to give my wife any cancer, and certainly none of the other firefighters would like to do that. There are only 4 breathing apparatus face masks on any given unit where I was stationed at Firefighter. Yet they want 36 members to be at work every day using that 4 face masks.
High-ranking officials of the Jamaica Fire Brigade were seen gathered at the transportation center trying to get Sergeant Bennett to end his protest action. However, up to news time, he was still on the roof on the facility. Our reporter Jamila Maitland is in Half-Tree and now joins us on the phone with an update. Jamila?
Hi, Jamila. That's correct. I am still at the Half-Tree Transportation Center. But I do have an update right now, and that is Sergeant Leo Bennett is no longer on the ledge at the transport center. I saw him just now climbing down, and that was because the president of the Jamaica Psychiatric Association, that's Dr. Senator Sapphire Longmore, along with a pastor and a member of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, they were hoisted in the bucket truck to go and to try to see if they could at least speak with him. And from where I'm standing now, he's no longer on the ledge. The senior officers here are telling me that he slid down from the ledge, but he's currently on the roof. We're not seeing them from where we're standing, but they are on the roof trying to speak with him. Earlier we saw Dr. Longmore. She had bottles of water in her hand, and that's because the officers would have believed Sergeant Bennett would be experiencing some form of dehydration in the heat, and so they decided to at least get some water to him. Now, he said he would have been on this ledge for 24 hours, and at the time he only had 1 bottle of water with him. We also noticed that there was a helicopter hovering on the roof, trying to see if they could at least get his attention. And now I'm seeing Sergeant Bennett coming down. He's walking in our direction, coming down from off the roof. And you'll probably hear some cheering on the ground because he's coming down. He's sliding now on the transport center. Coming down, he's coming down, he's sliding. Are you hearing the cheers in the background? Because persons were expecting him to come down. They wanted him to come down. The cheers you're hearing. And at the end, there are people who are greeting him. At the end, you're hearing motorists honking their horns because they want to see this gentleman come down. Coming down as well is Dr. Longmore, who is being clapped for talking this man off the leg, and the senior police officers are also clapping and thanking the crew for talking this gentleman down. And of course, we'll have more of this for prime time.
Thank you, Jamelia. A state of public emergency has been declared for the entire parishes of Clarendon and St. James. This will be for an initial period of 14 days as of midnight tonight. The parishes of St. James and Clarendon remain of particular concern for outbreaks of gang violence. Despite controversy regarding previous declarations, the government says the states of public emergency will allow the security forces to carry out targeted operations. It is hoped that this will disrupt and dismantle criminal gangs and their networks and prevent the serious crimes from happening again. A female commuter and a taxi operator were shot to death by a gunman in Westmoreland. It's reported that the gunman was posing as a passenger. O'Shane Masters reports.
Early Monday afternoon, crowds of people along with the police converged on this roadway in Robbins River, Westmoreland, after several gunshots were heard. When our news team reached the scene, two bodies riddled with bullets were seen in the crashed taxi. The victims have been identified as 34-year-old taxi operator Yukal Dwyer of New Works District and 52-year-old farmer Patricia Stewart of Bog District, both of Westmoreland. Police investigators told TVJ News that Ms. Stewart was one of two passengers in Mr. Dwyer's taxi. They believe the male passenger asked the driver to stop, but on exiting the vehicle, he pulled out a gun and fired on both Mr. Dwyer and Ms. Stewart. The driver tried to get away but crashed into this yard meters away. While residents refused to speak on camera, they believe Ms. Stewart was caught in the midst of a gun attack on Mr. Dwyer. The police, who are still investigating this case, pointed out that Mr. Dwyer survived a gun attack on him and his brother in 2020 when gunmen robbed them of a Toyota Roxy motor vehicle. One man is in custody in that case, in which Mr. Dwyer is the only witness. The cops are investigating if the two incidents are connected. At a February month-end town hall meeting, head of the Westmoreland Police Division, Senior Superintendent Wayne Joseph, indicated that the parish was making significant progress in the fight against crime.
So far, we have had a 50% reduction in murders compared to this time last year. And we intend to continue with the strategies that we have implemented.
However, with this double murder, residents are again on edge about criminals in the parish. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
A meeting is currently underway between the Ministry of Labour and the National Workers Union NWU, which represents immigration office workers at the country's two major airports. The immigration workers on Monday took industrial action as a means to voice their demands for a better wage package. There are also long-standing issues which they want to be addressed. This includes the non-payment of a special allowance. The action yesterday led to long delays, especially at the Sanctus International Airport in St. James. Before the meeting, General Secretary of the NWU, Granville Valentine, outlined the gravity of the situation.
It is sad that we have reached a place where workers has to take industrial action, revolt, before some level of interest is shown in their cause. The workers at PICA are so frustrated over what is happening, and they're so demotivated.
Councillor of the Edgewater Division, Alric Campbell, has thrown his hat in the ring to become the People's National Party standard bearer in the St. Catharines Southeastern Division. O'Shane Masters reports.
The political battle in St. Catherine is heating up as the PNP is seeking to end the tenure of first-time Member of Parliament Robert Miller. At a launch event recently, the councillor for the Edgewater division, Alric Campbell, who is seeking to unseat Mr. Miller, says the current MP has been found wanting.
Big rubber.
But what's his vision for the people of St. Catherine Southeastern? Firstly, education. Under that pillar, he says discussions will be held with the Hart School of Construction within Portmore to carry out community engagements and have young people being accredited with skills through the Hart NSDA Trust Apprenticeship Program. Mr. Campbell further noted that he'll be lobbying the government to have the Portmore Community College receive university status. The other pillars he noted are wellness and tourism, sporting infrastructure and competitions, the establishment of entertainment zones, and proper law enforcement.
We want the Portmore police. The population of Portmore needs policing that is somewhat commensurate. And I'm saying that in Portmore, 101 police station should have no business in central city, should have no business in Ulama, should have no business in Ulama. Portmore police should be Portmore police and be the police in Portmore alone.
MP for St. Catherine Southern, Fitz Jackson, and Mayor of Portmore, Leon Thomas, have thrown their support behind Mr. Campbell.
Alric is somebody who I do have tremendous respect and regard for. I've worked with him for a number of years. And I can speak and have knowledge of his integrity and who the person is. Alric has grown from the bottom up to the top. We don't want no pressure. We don't want no practice. We want somebody who learns straight away and wants to move forward.
Mr. Campbell is now expected to face the Internal Integrity Commission of the PNP. Once that is completed, a vote will then be done within the constituency for the people to decide if he will be the PNP's candidate when the next local election is called. But another candidate has thrown his hat into the same ring. Medical doctor Dr. Alfred Dawes Monday morning released a statement that he too is eyeing the St. Catherine Southeastern seat. And like Campbell, Dr. Dawes is also looking to improve the standard of living for the constituents there. Dr. Dawes, who revealed that he lived in Portmore for a while and now has his practice there, says St. Catherine Southeastern is the perfect place to begin his journey toward community and nation building. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And it's now time for the Business Minute.
Listed company Regency Petroleum, RPL, reported less profit in its fiscal year ended December 2022. After meeting tax obligations, the company made $56.3 million. That's 4% lower than profit post-tax of $58.9 million in 2021. But despite lower net earnings, Chief Financial Officer of RPL, Jerry Grant, says the company's performance was expected as it took on additional expenses.
Operating revenue that has increased significantly over the prior period. In fact, it's increased by 12%, which is equivalent to about 74 million over the period. This led to a significant increase in gross profit also, 19 million % increase during the year. This brings it to 112 million, as more or less flat, 83 million compared to 79 million the previous year.
Further afield, shares of First Republic Bank dropped significantly Monday, plunging by 60% in pre-market trading. This despite the regional lender announcing steps to shore up its balance sheet. Shares of other regional banks and financial firms are also stumbling, signaling continued nervousness despite the aggressive federal response announced Sunday night to protect depositors at Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Now investors are on high alert for banks with similar issues to those that forced the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank last week. PacWest Bank Corp tumbled 35% in pre-market trading, while Charles Schwab lost 8%. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Shane Masters.
And now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, medical charity Doctors Without Borders says gang violence in Haiti's capital has forced the temporary closure of its hospital in Port-au-Prince. It says patients and staff at its facility in Cité Soleil district were in grave danger as Haitians looking for treatment had become collateral victims of warfare just meters from the hospital. Gang violence and kidnapping in Haiti has risen sharply since President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated in 2021. The Caribbean nation has been facing a worsening economic crisis. And in international news, 7 of 8 migrants who died Saturday after 2 panga boats capsized off the coast of San Diego, California, were from Mexico. That's according to Mexican Consulate of San Diego. It says the determination was made based on identification found on the bodies. The nationality of the 8 victims is not known. U.S. Coast Guard's official theorized that the migrants were human trafficking victims. All 8 of those killed were adults. Raquel Porto for TVJ News.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Jermaine Brown.